The atmosphere during the training of the school team was somewhat depressing. After they saw the result of the draw, many old members found it devastating to meet the Alliance Central Military Academy in the second round. Invincible monster. For the old team members, the pressure was simply too much. The schedule also disturbed Situ Xiang's plan. Originally, she planned to let the team practice in rounds of matches. With Han Sen in the team, they could at least make it to the fifth round. After other team members gained enough practice and confidence, they could then face the Alliance Central Military Academy. Even if they could not win, they would have a decent performance. However, now in the second round they would run into the monster, and if they lost at the round, they would have an even worse ranking than last year. Situ Xiang knew that they could not lose this one, but even with Han Sen on the team, she was not confident. After all, the main item in the archery tournament was a team match, whereas the individual match was more of a performing nature. The school's ranking mainly depended on the result of the team match. In Blackhawk, except for Han Sen, there were very few people she could rely on. The old team members had lost their confidence, and the new ones could not be completely trusted in such a big game yet. The current situation made it very difficult for Situ Xiang. She thought secretly, "Damn you, Hand. Why did you have such bad luck in the draw?" No matter how bad the luck was, as the coach, she had to boost the team's morale. It was not working though. Basically, all the old team members thought they would lose for sure. Even if they could make it to the second round, they would lose then. So unfortunate. Such a strong opponent in the second round, Shi Zhikong couldn't help but complained. "It is a good thing. Only strong opponents could bring us more progress," said Zhang Yang excitedly, full of hope. Lu Ming said casually, "More progress but less opportunity. With our current team, even Han Sen could not get us past the second round. The result does not matter that much, as long as we grow. We have not tried yet, so how do you know that we would lose? Do you agree, Han Sen?"
Han Yang asked Han Sen.
"Of course we will win." Han Sen smiled and said, "Don't you feel it is quite interesting?" "What is interesting?" asked Shi Zhikong, puzzled. "The Alliance Central Military Academy is the king in the league and Jing Jiwu is the #1 military school student. If we beat them, we will be ending an era. Don't you think it's interesting?"
Asked Han Sen, smiling.
"I don't feel as interesting at all. I would rather have a weak opponent." Shi Zhikong smiled bitterly and said, "Han Sen, do not take Jing Jiwu lightly. He is a formidable man," said Lu Ming solemnly. "I never take anyone lightly, but I do feel it is very interesting. To end a dynasty and bury it in history, I cannot think of something more exciting than this," Han Sen said seriously. "Exactly, Han Sen. I support you." Zhang Yang had fires burning in his eyes, and it looked like he could not wait to fight. "You are not normal, but since we are roommates, if you decide to go, I will go with you." "I am just afraid that the coach would not give us the opportunity," Shi Zhikong said worriedly. Lu Ming curled his lips. "Relax, we will definitely go. The coach is clever, and she would not use those old teammates who have lost all their confidence. It is very likely we will represent the school." As Han Sen was walking toward the cafeteria, his comlink rang. It was from Tang Zhenliu. When he answered the call, the holographic images of Lin Feng and Tang Zhenliu both appeared. "Have you decided to participate in the archery tournament?" asked Tang Zhenliu hurriedly. "I am in the archery department, and as a member of the school team, I will definitely be participating. Is there a problem?" Han Sen did not understand why Tang Zhenliu would care about this. Tang Zhenliu did not speak, but looked at Lin Feng. "Do you think you could win?" asked Lin Feng. "I'm not sure," replied Han Sen quickly. Jing Jiwu was so strong that he could not tell whether he could win before actually fighting the monster. "I'll be watching your game," said Lin Feng calmly. Han Sen cast an odd look at Lin Feng, not knowing what he meant. Tang Zhenliu couldn't help but explain, "Han Sen, Jing Jiwu used to go to the same school we went to. He was as strong as Lin Feng. Unfortunately, he transferred to the Alliance Central Military Academy later, and never had a chance to have a proper fight with Lin Feng. It will definitely be a difficult battle. You feel nervous now?" Han Sen shrugged and said, "I have never thought that I would lose, so there is nothing to be nervous about. If Jing Jiwu has heard this, he will definitely be very happy. Should I tell him you said that?"
Tang Zhenli grin.
"As you like," Han Sen said casually. Be very careful. Jing Jiwoo is the most talented and hard-working guy I have ever seen, Lin Feng suddenly cut in. Han Sen was surprised and nodded seriously. Someone that was able to get such a remark from Lin Feng was definitely incredibly formidable. Well then, we'll go there and watch your game. Tang Zhenliu quickly hung up and called Jing Jiwoo. #1 military school student. That sounds so much better than dollar. Han Sen touched his chin contentedly. However, to gain that title, he must get rid of the guy who was named the monster. When he came to the cafeteria, Ji Yanran had already took a table. Luckily, her roommate was not here, and Han Sen felt he was about to get lucky. I heard that the archery school team will run into Jing Jiwoo in the second round, said Ji Yanran. Yes, what about it? Han Sen was surprised that even Ji Yanran started to care about the archery tournament. If you could beat Jing Jiwoo, I will treat you to a 4-day deluxe couples tour to the Aegean Sea, Ji Yanran blinked and said. Han Sen suddenly felt a strong desire to win. His eyes lighting up like a light bulb, Han Sen muttered, 4-day, deluxe, couples tour. Originally, Han Sen wanted to wait and see how it went. However, he now had every drive to beat the Alliance Central Military Academy. Thinking of the 4-day deluxe couples tour and his sexy, beautiful girlfriend, Han Sen felt his blood was boiling. The reason Ji Yanran wanted Han Sen to beat Jing Jiwoo was that last year when she led the team of Hand of God, they lost to Jing Jiwoo and stopped before entering the top 16. Women were vengeful creatures, and Han Sen's team happened to be running into Jing Jiwoo. Obviously, Ji Yanran did not want her boyfriend to lose to the same person. Eyes on the bonus, Han Sen researched many videos of Jing Jiwoo's previous matches. Han Sen had to admit that Jing Jiwoo was very strong. He could barely find any flaw. It was almost impossible to beat the guy through his weaknesses. However, Jing Jiwoo was also absolutely among the top of all military school students in terms of strength. To overpower him was also out of the question. Han Sen compared himself to Jing Jiwoo and found that he was worse in both strength and speed himself. Tang Zhenliu told Han Sen that Jing Jiwoo had already maxed out on all Geno points. The reason Jing Jiwoo had not gone to Second God's Sanctuary was that he wished to fight with Lin Feng in the next chosen contest. In addition, the hyper-Geno art practiced by Jing Jiwoo was also incredible. Even Lin Feng and Tang Zhenliu did not know what kind of hyper-Geno art it was, but it worked very well in that an average person whose Geno points were maxed out was not Jing Jiwoo's match at all. It is very difficult. If I have maxed out on my Geno points, I could definitely beat him fair and square. However, my Geno points are still not there yet. What Han Sen did not know was that he was studying his opponent. His opponent was also studying him. Lin Feng had said that Jing Jiwoo was the most talented and hardworking person. Jing Jiwoo had a strong mind, but he never took any opponent lightly, especially someone that Lin Feng valued. Jing Jiwoo had gathered all the information about Han Sen on the Skynet, including the video of the Warframe contest in the Starry Cup. He also watched the black and white boxing video and Han Sen's commercial. Jing Jiwoo had found almost everything and watched them all carefully. Jing, what are you watching? Qin Cheng walked over and stood behind Jing Jiwoo. Qin Cheng was #2 in the school archery team of the Alliance Central Military Academy. Originally, Qin Cheng was not in the archery team, but the Warframe team. He used to be the captain of the Warframe school team and won the championship for the school. Because Jing Jiwoo said, "I want you as my teammate," he transferred to the archery team. Even so, Qin Cheng was among the top in the Military Academy League. Even without Jing Jiwoo, Qin Cheng could lead the team to win. Han Sen from Black Hawk, said Jing Jiwoo, his eyes on the video, not missing a single detail. I've heard about this person. Since he beat Nailin Chenghua in black and white boxing, he should be very strong. Qin Cheng sat down next to Jing Jiwoo and asked, "What do you know about him so far?" Very good, said Jing Jiwoo. Qin Cheng looked at Jing Jiwoo in surprise. Not many people could get such comment from Jing Jiwoo. At least in all the contests that they participated together, he had never heard Jing Jiwoo say this about anyone. How good? Qin Cheng asked seriously. His fitness level is similar to yours, and he could make amazing judgment about his opponent's thoughts. It almost looks like he could read one's mind. Then it'll be very interesting. That's great. If we do not even have a decent opponent, this game would be too boring. Qin Cheng laughed. That's right, but I would rather watch his videos and study more. It is very hard to deal with someone like him. Jing Jiwoo also laughed. He would never fear any opponent. Qin Cheng nodded, opened 2 cans of beer, passed one to Jing Jiwoo, and leaned on the sofa. After watching all of Han Sen's videos, Qin Cheng said, he is indeed very strong. How are his teammates? Not so good. Jing Jiwoo showed videos of other players from Blackhawk. He did a very thorough research. Qin Cheng was used to Jing Jiwoo's style. After watching everything, he lamented, the teammates are too weak. The archery tournament was an unpopular game. However, this year's game received extra attention because Jing Jiwoo had chosen to participate. Many fans wanted to see Jing Jiwoo or Qin Cheng in person even went to Planet Goth to watch the game. All the archery teams from different military academies were also led to Planet Goth and arranged to stay in the hotel opposite the stadium. When Situ Xiang went to arrange for the team's accommodation, the Blackhawk school team were standing in the lobby, watching other teams coming in and out. Are you Han Sen? A girl in uniform saw Han Sen and walked over. I am. And you are? Han Sen looked at the girl standing in front of him, who was wearing a uniform of a different school and carrying a quiver. My name is Chiu Mingmei. I liked your commercial a lot. Could I ask for signature? The girl took out a pen and paper, watching Han Sen expectantly. Chiu Mingmei. You're Chiu Mingmei from Sinwu Military Academy? Shi Jikong and several old team members stared at the girl incredulously. The name of Chiu Mingmei was known by almost every archer in military schools. Last year, when she was still a freshman, she led her team, which was rather weak, to rank the 3rd in the tournament. Chiu Mingmei had also become famous after that. This year, she and Sinwu Academy received a lot of attention. Han Sen had only studied the team members of the Alliance Central Military Academy and did not have much knowledge of other military schools. Nor did he know Chiu Mingmei's name. He signed for her and gave her the piece of paper back. Thank you so much. I wish that we could have a match together. Chiu Mingmei was very excited and returned to her team. Han Sen turned back and saw the jealous look on his teammate's face. Shi Jikong put his strong arm around Han Sen's neck and shouted, Han Sen, Chiu Mingmei asked you for a signature. Not only his own teammates, but also other students in the lobby were throwing angry looks at Han Sen. Chiu Mingmei was gorgeous and had great archery skills. There was no doubt that she was a star in the archery tournament. Her asking for Han Sen's signature naturally made many guys bristle. Stop it, guys. Behave yourselves, please. After Situ Xiang and the team manager finished the paperwork, the team members went to their own respective rooms. Do not run around. When you finish eating, just go to the stadium and do some training on the spot. Situ Xiang did not want the team to run around and make trouble. After dinner, the team went to the Goth Stadium, where the 10-day competition would be held. It's Jing Jiwoo. When they reached the venue, Shi Jikong whispered. Everyone looked over and saw the school team of the Alliance Central Military Academy were doing a training. Jing Jiwoo was shooting at a moving target 300 feet from him and had hit the bullseye 8 times in a row. Insanely stable, commended Lu Ming. Suddenly, a guy came to Han Sen with a bow in his hand and asked in a provocative tone, Are you Han Sen? I am. Who are you? Han Sen looked the guy up and down and did not recognize him. Remember me. I am Fong Wending from Smith Military Academy, and we will beat your team and enter the 2nd round to face the Alliance Central Military Academy, said the guy arrogantly. Han Sen smiled and did not speak. When Shi Jikong was about to say something, another person came over to them. Shi Jikong moved his lips and did not make a sound, staring his eyes wide at the person who had come. Not just Shi Jikong, almost everyone was looking at that person, because it was Jing Jiwoo from the Alliance Central Military Academy. Jing Jiwoo. Jing Jiwoo introduced himself and reached out his right hand in front of Han Sen.
Han Sen. Han Sen paused and shook his hand.
Jing Jiwoo smiled and said, I wanted to say hi when we meet at the match. However, since I've seen you here, I should probably say hi now. I look forward to our game. Me too. Han Sen was quite confused. The strong players he had met were all kind of strange. Jing Jiwoo just came to talk to him out of nowhere. Han Sen did not feel anything when he heard what Jing Jiwoo had said, but other people were quite shocked. The reporters around the venue were drafting millions of headlines in their mind. An invite from the monster, nemesis of the emperor, on the probability of the victory of Black Hawk. Either way, many people now knew that Jing Jiwoo took Black Hawk, or rather Han Sen, very seriously. Fong Wending was left alone felt terrible. No one was paying attention to him, and his remark was completely forgotten because of Jing Jiwoo's presence. When Xiao was also doing a live show of the training in the stadium, when she saw the scene, she was pleasantly surprised. She was supposed to do a show on black and white boxing, but volunteered to do a show on the archery tournament, knowing Han Sen would be participating. She did not understand why Han Sen would give up black and white boxing for archery. He was doing so well in black and white boxing that he could guarantee great performance. Although he was from the archery department, when Xiao still did not understand his choice. This year, Jing Jiwoo had chosen to take part in the archery tournament, and according to the rules, he could no longer show up in black and white boxing competitions, which made Saint Germain the strongest team. Han Sen had proven that he could easily beat Saint Germain, and this was supposed to be a perfect opportunity for him. However, he chose to compete in archery and ran into the Alliance Central Military Academy in the second round, which was beyond her comprehension. Watching Han Sen and Jing Jiwoo talking, when Xiao suddenly thought she understood something. Han Sen and Jing Jiwoo must have made a pact to compete in the archery tournament. That must be why they have chosen the archery tournament together. When Xiao let her imagination run wild, she had even drafted the title of her piece, The Rendezvous Between the Monster and the Emperor. As when Xiao got more and more excited about her work, she went back to her office and started writing. When Xiao did have a lot of creativity. In fact, Jing Jiwoo was only saying hi to Han Sen because he had heard about Han Sen from Tang Zhenliu and Lin Feng. In her writing, Han Sen and Jing Jiwoo had all sorts of love and hatred between them. Paired with the pictures she took, it almost seemed real. After reading her reports, everyone started to discuss the relationship between Jing Jiwoo and Han Sen. I was just wondering why they both chose archery. It turns out that there's something going on between the two. Exactly. I can't wait to see their duel. Monster and Emperor, very interesting. I believe Han Sen's black and white boxing ID is Emperor. I have seen Han Sen's black and white boxing competition. He even beat Nalin Xinghua 5-0, and Jing Jiwoo only beat Nalin Xinghua 3-2. Must be a great show. So exciting. The Alliance Central Military Academy won their first round without any suspense. However, the team did not leave after the game, but changed outfits and sat on the stands to watch other teams' games, giving more evidence to those who were speculating about the relationship between Han Sen and Jing Jiwoo. When Xiao became super excited and focused her camera on Jing Jiwoo and Han Sen instead of the game itself. The viewers of the game were also in a heated discussion. Eventually, it was Blackhawk's turn. Their opponent was Smith Military Academy. People were guessing who Situ Xiang would pick to represent Blackhawk and were surprised by the result. Except for Su Tianhao was the old captain. The other four teammates were the four freshmen from room 304. Shi Jikong was so surprised that he opened his mouth wide. He did not expect to be able to represent the school. His level was only average and even slightly worse than those old team members. As for Lu Ming and Zhang Yang, they had been performing at top levels in the school team, so that it made sense the coach picked them. Carry on. I believe in you. Situ Xiang smiled and patted Shi Jikong on the shoulder. Like Lu Ming had predicted, Situ Xiang was someone who valued morale very much. She would rather take Shi Jikong than those who had lost their confidence. If the old captain Su Tianhao did not have faith, Situ Xiang might even replace him as well. Don't worry. We'll be here for you. Zhang Yang patted Shi Jikong and said. Shi Jikong immediately exclaimed, What's to be worried about? This round we don't even have to face the monster. Even in the next round, Han Sen will win it for us. Lu Ming and Zhang Yang threw a contemptuous look at Shi Jikong and went back to training. The team competition was a playoff system. Each group had 5 members. In the venue full of obstacles, the team that outed all 5 members of the other group would win. It was almost like a shootout, only with arrows. The arrows used in the game were flat-headed magnetic ones. Once the arrow hit a player, the person would be out immediately. In the show hosted by Wen Xiao, a famous archery expert Feng Jiuluan was invited to analyze the game. Professor Feng Jiluan, could you make an analysis of the current situation of the two teams? Wen Xiuxiu asked Feng Jiluan. Although Wen Xiuxiu did not know much about archery before, she did her homework before she came and now knew quite a lot about the rules and the teams. Smith Military Academy was on the same level as Blackhawk. Last year, Smith Military Academy did not do that well in archery either, only slightly better than Blackhawk. This year, Smith Military Academy also recruited many archery students, among whom Feng Wending was one of the top. Feng Jiluan cleared his throat and said lightly, Blackhawk and Smith are on the same level, and I will say it's a 60% chance of winning. You think Blackhawk only has a 60% chance of winning? Asked Wen Xiuxiu, surprised. No, I believe Smith has 60% chance of winning, said Feng Jiluan casually. Wen Xiuxiu was a bit dumbstruck. Everyone knew that Han Sen was the player that Jing Jiwu took very seriously, so she did not expect Feng to say that. Feng Jiluan did not wait for another question before he continued. I know that there is a lot of hype on the Skynet about Han Sen and Jing Jiwu. However, as a professional archery analyst, I could tell you that it is just a PR stunt. Han Sen and Blackhawk did not have what it takes to be the Alliance Central Military Academy's match. I would say that it would be hard for them even to beat Smith. Feng Jiluan's remark led to fury of the viewers. What kind of expert is this? What's all this bull crap? My emperor is handpicked by Jing Jiwu. Smith is nothing. Where does the so-called expert come from? PR stunt my ass. Both Jing Jiwu's fans and Han Sen's fans voiced their dissatisfaction. Although Wen Xiuxiu felt embarrassed, she could not discredit an expert on her own show. She had to say, there must be a reason why you support Smith? Feng Jiluan smiled and said, as an expert, I would not be easily affected by public opinion. To the contrary, I value data. The reason that I say Smith has a better chance at winning is that through scientific analysis, Blackhawk is nowhere near Smith. I do not need to make a judgment, only an interpretation of the numbers. Although the public are misled by the PR stunt and fake news, that does not change the fact that Blackhawk is a weak team. Wen Xiuxiu was mortified at this point. One of the fake news Feng Jiluan talked about was her article. Feng Jiluan, on the other hand, did not know that Wen Xiuxiu had written such a report. The reason he made such an analysis was that Feng Wending was Feng Jiluan's nephew. Feng Jiluan knew that Feng Wending's parents were professional archers and that Feng Wending had really good skills, so he utilized this opportunity to brag about his own wonderful analytical skills and gain his nephew some popularity. Feng Jiluan continued to say, Smith has recruited a lot of great students this year, especially a student named Feng Wending. If you knew anything about archery contests, you should have heard the names of Feng Hua and Feng Yunmei, the two professional archers among evolvers. Feng Wending is from such a great family background and talented himself as well. Such a star archer. What you're saying is that Feng Wending is better than Han Sen at archery? Wen Xiuxiu tried to contain her anger. How is that even a question? Someone who plays the Warframe, does black and white boxing, and even shoots commercials, versus a real archer. I bet you don't know this. This Feng Jiluan is the elder brother of Feng Yunmei. Really? Yes, it is true. I live in the same building as Feng Wending and often see Feng Jiluan visiting him. Shameless. What kind of expert is this? How dare he say such crap? I've never heard that archery skills could be inherited. The viewers soon found out about the relationship between Feng Jiluan and Feng Wending. At this point, the game had already started. Each team entered from one end of the field. The field was of a rectangular shape more than half a mile long. All kinds of obstructions were dotted in the area, including small hills, woods, and walls, allowing the players to use different tactics. Players must choose among different bows and arrows provided by the sponsor. Since everyone had different strength levels and habits, there were no rules about the model of weapons. From 6.0 to 20.0, there were many options on each strength level. Although there were many high-tech composite bows that combined ease of use and accuracy, Han Sen still chose a traditional longbow. Longbow was the hardest to practice, but it was the most flexible under all kinds of circumstances. Han Sen had been using a traditional bow since the beginning. He had learned the basics in the integrated education and was further corrected by Yang Manli. After that, he learned many techniques in the military school. At this point, he had reached a considerable high level in archery. A 11.0 traditional longbow was a popular choice. Normally speaking, senior military school students could reach 13 to 14 in their fitness index, so they would normally go for a bow of 11.0 or 12.0. The one Han Sen chose was relatively weak. Shi Jikong had great strength, so he chose a 14.0 modern composite bow. The bow was very powerful, but lacking in flexibility. Although a composite bow was easier to manipulate than a traditional one, the speed must be sacrificed. Shi Jikong planned to be a remote attacker in the game, and did not plan to sneak up on any player from Smith Military Academy. Zhang Yang picked a traditional bow like Han Sen did, although he picked up the 12.5 one, which was stronger than Han Sen's. Lu Ming chose a recurve hunting bow with an arrow rest, which had a higher accuracy than a traditional bow. It was a mix between the traditional and composite, so rather practical.
Shu Tianhao chose à 13.0 composite bow.
Like Shi Jikong, he was also a player more used to attacking in a fixed place, only his strength was not as great as Shi Jikong, who was either a born Hercules or had a great count of Geno points. Among the 5 bows, Han Sen chose the one with lowest strength requirement, which led to Feng Juluan's criticism. He picked a bow of 11.0, which means he has a terrible fitness index. As a member of the school team, although he is just a freshman, he should still be able to use a 12.0 bow well. Otherwise, he is for sure on the bottom of the entire tournament. I mean, I can understand that. Han Sen put all his energy into Warframe and black and white boxing, which could explain his bad physique. Feng Juluan then turned the topic back to his nephew. In this respect, Feng Wending is much better than him. They both picked traditional longbows, yet Feng Wending chose a 12.5, which says a lot about his fitness level. Feng Juluan spared no effort to sing his nephew's praise, while the viewers did not really buy it. Bullsh *T. That's no indicator of anything. I'm using a 15.0 bow, but cannot make much use of it. Such a phony. How do you know that Han Sen could not beat him with that 11.0 bow? Exactly. In the hands of a master, any bow can be used well. I have only heard of Han Senator. Who the heck is Feng Wending? Analysis led to strong antipathy. Even fans of the other team started to defend Han Sen, not to mention Han Sen's own fans. Professor Feng, I think that was a little subjective. Our viewers seem to have a lot of different opinions, said Wen Xiao. Feng Juluan glanced at the comments and said casually, the truth always lies in the hands of a few. I'm just stating a fact, which might not be easy to accept for those who have a weak mind. Very soon, I believe, they will see what I'm talking about, because the result of the game will prove everything. Words like this made the viewers hate this all even more. Ji Yanran and Chu Lily were also pissed off by his remarks. Chu Lily bristled. What kind of crappy expert is this? So unprofessional. Ji Yanran's face was grim. She curled her lips and said, he is right about one thing. The result of the game will prove everything, just not anything he said. Although the viewers had been complaining, Feng Juluan managed to ignore all those comments and continued to talk about Smith's strengths. At this point, players from Blackhawk and Smith had used all kinds of obstructions as their cover to approach the other team. The fight was about to begin. Feng Juluan did have his own reasons to praise his nephew, who was indeed a strong archer. Feng Wending had great techniques and was good at commanding the team. In the Military Academy League, he could absolutely be counted as a top player. If it was not for Han Sen, he could easily lead Smith to beat a good team. Let's go occupy the heights first and seek opportunities to fight back, said Su Tianhao. Captain, I don't think that's necessary. We are completely capable of fighting them head-on, Zhang Yang suggested. Lu Ming also said, we haven't been practicing as a team for long. If we fight them far away, our teamwork would not be very impressive. We should go over there and keep them close. Han Sen is such a good archer that he could even finish them off himself. What do you say, Han Sen? Asked Su Tianhao. It's just Smith. We will win anyway, Han Sen smiled and said. Shi Jikong suddenly became excited. What are we waiting for? Let's go there right away. Let's go. Su Tianhao hadn't had this kind of spirit for 2 years in the school team, since they had always been losing. Since the freshmen had all shown great courage, Su Tianhao was happy to oblige. The team of 5 used different objects as their cover and quickly ran towards Smith's half-court, without any intention to occupy the heights. Haha, Black Hawk went all in. They did not even take Smith seriously. Awesome. That seems a bit dangerous, doesn't it? Dangerous how? Han Sen does not need to worry about Smith at all. He is on the same level as Jing Jiwoo. Awesome. I like this. Watching the 5 players of Blackhawk taking the risk, the viewers became thrilled. In an archery game, the most interesting was definitely a head-on fight, instead of a set offense. Originally, Feng Jiluan was worried that Fong Winding would have some trouble winning the game. Seeing Blackhawk going all in, he was amused and said, "It seems that I still gave Blackhawk too much credit. In addition to their bad skills, they had no tactics either. There is no cover or cooperation. If they want to do this, why did some of them pick strong composite bows? Everyone should have chosen a flexible longbow. I'm sure that Smith would win more easily than I predicted." Watching the game, when Xiao also frowned. Based on what she had learned recently, Feng Jiluan was making a lot of sense. Blackhawk's strategy did seem quite clueless. Normally speaking, if a team were to approach their enemy, they needed to do it under all sorts of covers and push over slowly. When all 5 rushed together like they did, the team members could easily be hit by an enemy hidden in the dark. The only chance of winning now was that Blackhawk could beat Smith instantaneously, leaving them no opportunity to launch any sneak attack. However, by rushing over first, Blackhawk had put themselves at a disadvantage. It was almost impossible to beat Smith at once. Seeing the Blackhawk players rushing over, Fong Winding smirked and ordered, "Lay low and occupy favorable spots. Shoot at my command." "Captain, they have entered my shooting range. Should I start now?" A player holding a 14.0 composite bow asked. "Hold it. When they entered the area of fallen trees, we will launch a serious attack," said Fong Winding, observing his opponents. The Blackhawk players seemed to be going all the way. Although the Smith players could shoot them right now, only one composite bow was close enough to them. At such distance, one bow could not make a huge difference. Since Han Sen and his teammates were still running, Fong Winding would let them get a bit closer to launch a better attack. The area of fallen trees was the most open area in the entire field, and within the shooting range of all the Smith players. Seeing the Blackhawk players moving into that area, even the viewers felt bad for them. This game should be ending in less than 5 minutes. Feng Jiluan saw that and smiled. Very soon, Feng Jiluan's smile froze on his face. When Han Sen and his teammates entered the shooting range of the Smith players, it also meant that the Smith players were now within the range of Han Sen's shooting range. When Fong Winding gave the order to fire away, arrow after arrow flew toward where the Smith players were hiding. 2 of the Smith players who thought they were hiding well were out immediately. Although Fong Winding and the other 2 reacted fast and dodged the arrows, they lost the opportunity to shoot back. Silence fell as everyone was shocked by Han Sen, who shot 5 arrows in the blink of an eye. The next moment, loud cheers sounded in the stands. What the heck? How did he know where the 5 persons of Smith were hiding? So fast. I did not even see him touch his bow. Such a strong player. No wonder Jing Jiwoo takes him so seriously. He is not only the black and white boxing emperor, but also an amazing archer. Invincible. The field was so large that if players were hiding, it would be hard for them to be found. However, Han Sen's arrows were like missiles and located the Smith guys accurately, immediately pinned his enemies down. It was like a match between an adult and children. It was not that hard for Han Sen, though. He was good at assassination, and the field had a fixed map. Han Sen knew that the moment they reached the fallen trees area was the best opportunity for the Smith guys to launch an attack. And to tell where they were hiding was one of his strengths anyway. Let's go. No need to watch anymore. Jing Jiwoo got up first. He is indeed a formidable opponent. I look forward to fighting against him. It's such a shame that all his teammates are weak. Qin Cheng nodded. As a player who had a similar style to Han Sen, he was very impressed by Han Sen's ability to judge correctly. Life was full of competitions, but to find a rival on the same level was something worth celebrating. When Qin Cheng observed Han Sen, he kept thinking what he would do if he were Han Senator, and it turned out that he would do exactly what Han Sen did. Qin Cheng would have had the exact same speed, route, and timing. Although Qin Cheng had not met Han Sen officially yet, he had thought of Han Sen as his biggest enemy and strongest opponent. Now Qin Cheng wanted to beat Han Sen even more than Jing Jiwoo did. He even wished that Han Sen's teammates could be stronger, so that he and Han Sen could compete on the same level. The moment that the Alliance Central Military Academy team left the site, loud cheers exploded behind them. It seemed that Blackhawk had already won. In just 3 minutes, Smith had lost completely. It was like a nightmare for them. They did not have any chance to shoot. Even if they exposed themselves just a little, they would be shot immediately. Han Sen's arrows had eyes. Archery was different from firearms. The fastest archer would still need time and space to draw the string. That was why until the end Fong Winding still had no opportunity to make a comeback. It did end in less than 5 minutes. Professor Feng Jiluan knew it all. A genius is a genius. Fong Winding will definitely win. What a statement. Now archery is more interesting than I thought. Ji Yanran let out a sigh of relief and jumped with joy. Chu Lily waved her fist and ridiculed, "Well done, genius." The so-called expert had some nerve to sit there. If I were him, I would have killed myself choking on my own feces. Feng Jiluan could not say a word. He had praised Fong Winding so hard, but Fong had suffered such a loss. This victory once more put Blackhawk and Han Sen under the spotlight. All the media that covered the archery tournament published stories on this game. Although Smith was not a strong team, Han Sen's 5 arrows were simply outstanding. In addition, Jing Jiwoo had taken Han Sen so seriously, which added to people's interest. When Xiaoxiao spared no effort in praising Han Sen as well. She wrote an article with the title From Black and White Boxing to Archery Tournament Emperor Han Sen, in which she introduced Han Sen's past experience, making more readers familiar with him. After reading Wen Xiaoxiao's report, many people found Han Sen's black and white boxing game video on the Skynet and fell in love with him even more. As Han Sen gained more and more fans, there had been more attention on the game between the Alliance Central Military Academy and Blackhawk. Most people hoped that Han Sen would do well, but believed that the Alliance Central Military Academy would still win. After all, Jing Jiwoo's image was more established, and he had the best teammates who were also well-known players and could each lead a team in any other military academy. On the Blackhawk side, there were no strong players except for Han Sen, and 3 of his teammates were freshmen. That was why most people were excited to see the match between Han Sen and Jing Jiwoo, but did not have much hope for Blackhawk winning. No one believed that Jing Jiwoo would lose. He was a monster after all, and the monster was invincible. Even the Blackhawk themselves did not have much hope. Before the match, when Situ Xiang was explaining the tactics, she had also said doing their best was enough. The team members had the same mindset. No one dared to think about winning. Even Zhang Yang, who had always been positive, said it would be good enough to finish off 1 or 2 players in Alliance Central Military Academy.
Han Sen frov ned.
If it were any other game, he would not care as much. However, this game meant a couple's trip with his girlfriend. He had to win. However, in a team competition like this one, even he needed support from his teammates to stand a chance in front of the Alliance Central Military Academy. If his teammates were convinced that they were going to lose, then no one could help them.
No.
I must inspire their fighting spirit. Han Sen looked at his teammates and gazed upon Zhang Yang. Without a doubt, Zhang Yang was definitely the one person that had most fight in him. However, he alone would not make much of a difference. Han Sen hesitated and laid his eye on Situ Xiang. As the coach of the school team, Situ Xiang was doing quite well. If Han Sen did not spend too much time in God's sanctuary and had more time to practice with his teammates, they could probably do even better. However, this would not make much of the difference in front of the Alliance Central Military Academy. When Situ Xiang was explaining her arrangement in the next match, Han Sen suddenly stood up and walked to her. Situ Xiang did not know what the student wanted. He should listen to her or raise his hand instead of walking up to her. "Coach, when you recruited me into the school team, didn't you tell me that the goal is to win the championship in this tournament?" Han Sen walked up to Situ Xiang with his back straight and eyes sharp. "I did." Situ Xiang nodded and blushed a little. She had to admit that even she did not believe that Blackhawk could beat the Alliance Central Military Academy. "Then please tell us how to win this." "I want to win." Staring at the coach, Han Sen said slowly. Situ Xiang did not know what to say. She wanted to win more than anybody. However, the gap between the 2 teams was too big. Situ Xiang had no clue herself as to how to beat the strongest military school. But as a coach, She could not tell her team that they had no hope. After watching the first match of the Alliance Central Military Academy, Situ Seong had to say that this was probably the best team the archery tournament had ever seen. With the monster Jing Jiwoo and other players like Qin Chung, the team was so strong that it was beyond her imagination. If you really want to win, there is only one way. Situ Seong pondered for a while and said to Han Sen. In fact, Situ Seong had thought about this match a million times. But no matter what decision she made, she thought they would still lose. The absolute gap in strength was beyond any strategy or tactics. But even so, Situ Seong still hoped to win. She had a tentative plan, but she did not even believe it was possible to execute. It was deep in her mind, but she did not even have enough confidence to share that with her team. From a coach, the plan was quite absurd. Questioned by Han Sen like this, Situ Seong had half a mind to share her plan. Although it was a bit ridiculous, what if they could actually realize it? The desire to win burned in Situ Seong, which motivated her to speak her mind. But she did not say it immediately, and chose to test the water first. I really want to win. Whatever the method is, please tell me, said Han Sen earnestly, full of fighting will. Situ Seong was quite touched. She did not expect that Han Sen, who seemed to care little about the school team, had such a sense of honor. If she knew that he was actually thinking about a trip with his girlfriend, she would probably be pissed off. Situ Seong felt all her team members watching her, full of hope. No one wanted to lose, even the old team members, as long as there was a chance to win. Coach, please tell us, how can we win?
Zhang Yang asked Situ Seong hurriedly.
Situ Seong gritted her teeth and said grimly, when it comes to the absolute strength, you had no chance at all. Each and every one of their players is more experienced. Even the collaboration among them is much better than you guys. Situ Seong paused and continued, however, that doesn't mean everything. Although they had a huge advantage, it does not mean you have no chance. Situ Seong's gaze fell upon Han Sr. Although this chance is extremely slim, if you're willing to try, there is a possibility. Whereas if you do not try, you will definitely lose. If you decide to give it a shot, you will still have a 99% chance of losing. Are you still willing to do this? Please tell us how to do it. Han Sen was calm and determined. Other team members also looked at Situ Seong eagerly. Here, look at this. Situ Seong pulled out the simulation of the field and started to explain. Before the match began, the stands were filled with the audience from all over the Alliance. People were extremely enthusiastic about this match between Jing Jiwoo and Han Sen. All sorts of media platforms were also all over this match. The unpopular archery tournament became such a hit this year. When Xiaoxiao was doing all the talking today, as the expert Feng Jiluan was pulled off by Huaxing Station because of the complaints. At the back of the stands, two young men in sunglasses were whispering to each other. Lin Feng, do you think Han Sen could win? Asked Tang Zhenliu casually. In terms of the overall strength of his team, Han Sen has no chance. Lin Feng smiled.
And
Tang Zhenliu knew Lin Feng had more to say. Lin Feng thought about it and said, however, Han Sen's strength was assassination. So, he might be able to get rid of a single person without using the entire team. You mean Han Sen has a chance to eliminate Jing Jiwoo?
Tang Zhenli Zitger Lin Feng.
Very hard to say. Maybe there is a chance, whispered Lin Feng. Even he could not predict the result of this game and had to wait and see. On the stands were almost all the participating teams. Even the teams that did not have a match this day were here. Qiu Mingmei was also here with her teammates. Most of them were here to observe the Alliance Central Military Academy. In the first round, the team's opponent was too weak to make them show their real strength. Although they did not believe that Black Hawk was the match of the Alliance Central Military Academy, they thought Han Sen would be able to force the monster to show what he got. In the waiting room, Shi Zhikong nervously rubbed his hands together and murmured to Zhang Yang, "You think Coach's idea will really work? Why not? If we make every effort, there's definitely a chance," replied Zhang Yang calmly. "But this is beyond our efforts. It is simply too risky. Once they could tell what we're doing, we will definitely lose." Shi Zhikong was still nervous. "It is risky, but this is our only chance. Maybe you would like to share a better idea?" said Lu Ming. "If I have a better idea, I will not be so nervous. What do you think, Sin?" Shi Zhikong smiled bitterly. This is the best way and our only chance. Let's just do what the coach said Han Sen calmly. The light was on, and all the team members looked to Situ Xiang. It's time. Situ Xiang took a deep breath and led her team out. The moment they appeared in the sight, they were greeted by waves of cheers. Less than 5 minutes until the game started, everyone opened their mouth wide. Even the online viewers forgot to comment and could not believe their own eyes. Because the entire field had a blocking system, the Alliance Central Military Academy players could not hear or see the audience. Otherwise, they would know that something was wrong. From the beginning of the game, the 5 players from Black Hawk lined up in a single file and ran into the half-court of the Alliance Central Military Academy. Because there were obstructions including hills and woods, normally speaking, the two teams were not able to see each other when the game just started. It was a common practice to occupy the heights to observe the other team. There were a few heights in each half-court so that both teams could utilize the terrain. Blackhawk players had given up on the heights and chose to enter their opponent's half-court following a route hard to be discovered, which was a risky move. Once they were noticed by their opponents who had occupied the heights, they would be finished off in the blink of an eye. Everyone was shocked by the daring move of Blackhawk. Normally speaking, when the Alliance Central Military Academy occupied a height nearby, they would notice the Blackhawk players and end the game once the Blackhawk players were in their sight. What kind of tactics is this? This is so risky. They are bound to be found. Of course, Blackhawk have made such a bad move. I thought this game would be excellent to watch. Now it seems it will end very soon. Even an average motor school would not overlook such an intrusion, not to mention the Alliance Central Military Academy. What trick is this? Those who had the slightest understanding of an archery game thought Blackhawk was committing a suicide. At this point, Situ Xiang was wringing her hands nervously, her eyes fixed on her team. She had designed the tactics, which looked like a suicide. No team would make such a mistake to neglect this daring move. However, this was her last resort after watching all the games of the Alliance Central Military Academy in recent years. If she used this tactics on another team, then the failure was almost certain. However, on the Alliance Central Military Academy, maybe they stood a 1% or lower chance of success. Theoretically speaking, all teams would occupy 1 or 2 heights near them first to observe their opponents. Most of the time, the Alliance Central Military Academy would do the same. Under very rare circumstances, however, they would choose to go directly to occupy the highest point in the center of the field. These circumstances were so few that Situ Xiang had only seen them do it 3 times in recent years. The chance was so small that it was not even meaningful. But Situ Xiang's analysis made her see hope. All 3 times that the Alliance Central Military Academy made that decision, which was a more aggressive approach, were when they encountered strong opponents. It served them well, too. The teams thought to be their match all turned out to be crushed. Although no one believed that Blackhawk was strong enough to pose a challenge to the Alliance Central Military Academy, because of Han Sen, the media was working up the hype. Situ Xiang wondered if the Alliance Central Military Academy would take Blackhawk seriously enough to use their special strategy. If they chose to do their routine, then Blackhawk would definitely lose. This was a gamble, while Situ Xiang did not even know if Blackhawk had any chips. In any case, this was Blackhawk's only chance. Sweat in her palms, Situ Xiang was praying that there would be a miracle. Han Sen was leading the way, watching the timer in his hand from time to time. Their route and timing were carefully designed by Situ Xiang, in a way that it would allow them to circle behind the Alliance Central Military Academy under the circumstances that the team chose to go directly to the center. Maybe Situ Xiang's prayers were working. The 5 players of the Alliance Central Military Academy indeed went to the center instead of occupying the heights nearby. A classic battle was often produced under the influence of many coincidences. When the audience saw the players from each team went past each other from different routes, they were shocked. WDF, this must have been rehearsed. This is funny. Blackhawk has such good luck that the Alliance Central Military Academy chose directly to go to the center and avoided them. Incredible tactics. I cannot believe such tactics would work. The coach of Alliance Central Military Academy became very upset. No one could predict that Blackhawk would have such strange tactics. Even more unbelievable was he happened to be the one who made the decision to go to the center, which was part of the opponent's calculation. It was not a failure of the players, but the coach himself. At this point, he regretted so much that the plan to crush Blackhawk became the biggest crisis of the Alliance Central Military Academy. All the coaches from other school teams cast their eyes upon Situ Xiang in awe of this woman. Such a daring and successful move. As the Alliance Central Military Academy was marching toward the center, the Blackhawk players had arrived at the woods behind the central mountain. The backs of all 5 players in the Alliance Central Military Academy were exposed in the sight of the Blackhawk players. An attack on the enemy's back was the most effective attack. In history, countless famous generals died under attacks from the flanks. Without knowing their backs were exposed, the 5 players from the Alliance Central Military Academy were still climbing the central mountain. All of a sudden, arrows were shot from their rear. Although there were 5 players on their team, the target of the arrows was one person. Qin Cheng, the number 2 in the Alliance Central Military Academy and the second star of the team. Maybe Qin Cheng was not as famous as Jing Jiwu, but his contribution to the team was no less than Jing Jiwu's. As a student Warframe commander, Qin Cheng had not only great archery skills, but also excellent leadership talent. With Qin Cheng on the team, Jing Jiwu could focus himself on getting rid of the opponents. Without Qin Cheng, the Alliance Central Military Academy would still be strong, but no longer invincible. From the very beginning, Situ Xiang's plan was to first get rid of Qin Cheng, who was the brains of the team, instead of Jing Jiwu. On one hand, Jing Jiwu's physique was so strong that a sneak attack like this might not work. On the other hand, getting rid of Qin Cheng meant more to Blackhawk strategically. Watch out! Jing Jiwu noticed the attack before the arrows even arrived. It was too late for him to fend off the arrows, so all he could do was to use his voice. Qin Cheng acted quickly. It was an archery game, so it was forbidden to use anything to touch the opponent's arrows. A player could either dodge or use his or her own arrow to fight back. The arrows blocked every direction Qin Cheng could move. Their intention to kick Qin Cheng out was clear. Qin Cheng grabbed his bow and shot 3 arrows in an instant, which shot down all the 3 arrows coming at his face. Qin Cheng, well done. The coach of the Alliance Central Military Academy waved his fist in the excitement, feeling lucky to have Qin Cheng on his team. Such skills and calm were next to nobody other than Jing Jiwu. Qin Cheng's teammates were also overjoyed. Awesome. Well done, Qin Cheng. Haha, Blackhawk spent so much effort to attack Qin Cheng and failed. Qin Cheng was indeed the king of Warframe. We have more than Jing Jiwu. Qin Cheng is equally good. As they were celebrating, Qin Cheng suddenly exclaimed as an arrow ended on his chest. Beep, beep. Alliance Central Military Academy. Qin Cheng. Out. Archer. Blackhawk.
Han Sen.
Qin Cheng's clothes lit up and the voice of AI sounded in the field, shocking everyone including the coach of Alliance Central Military Academy. Qin Cheng looked down at the arrow on his body blankly. He only had seen 3 arrows. Yet when he fended off those 3, another arrow flew at him out of nowhere. He had no time to react again before being hit. Watch out for Han Sen. He's stronger than we thought, said Qin Cheng to Jing Jiwu. He already understood where that arrow came from. The first 3 arrows were just a cover, while Han Sen's arrow was hiding behind one of them. He had to fend off all 3 arrows before the last one showed. However, at that point he had no time to deal with the last arrow. It was easier said than done. He had never seen a single person who could do this in the entire archery tournament. As Qin Cheng was taken out by a smart machine, the game continued with the Alliance Central Military Academy at a disadvantage. The Blackhawk players were hiding in the woods, while their opponents were exposed on the slope with no cover. The players from the Alliance Central Military Academy were faced with 2 choices, either going up or down. Without hesitation, Jing Jiwu ordered everyone to go down, which was faster than going up and did not require them to expose their backs. It was not that easy to come down either. Blackhawk had made a thorough preparation for this part. None of them chose a strong bow. Everyone picked 11.0 bows for the speed. It was a very weak bow for these student archers, but they could shoot continuously. At the command of their captain Su Tianhao, a storm of arrows landed on one of the Alliance Central Military Academy players. Without any cover, that player was out immediately. Ah, it was me? Shi Zhikong waved his recurve bow in excitement. Watch out. Han Sen wanted to pull Shi Jikong, but it was too late. An arrow hit Shi Jikong immediately. Although the arrows all had flat rubber heads, Shi Jikong still rolled over on the ground in pain. That bow must be a 16.0. Jing Jiwu is indeed a monster, said Su Tianhao after hiding behind a tree. Han Sen could also pull a 16.0 longbow, but could probably shoot no more than 2 arrows. There was no way he could make continuous shots like Jing Jiwu. The 16.0 bow looked like an 11.0 in Jing Jiwu's hands. Quick! Do not allow them to come down, exclaimed Lu Ming at everyone. In another exchange of arrows, Jing Jiwu made a shot at Su Tianhao, who was out immediately. Luckily, Han Sen got rid of another opponent as well. The audience became thrilled. Since Jing Jiwu joined the school team, it was the first time that 3 players were out in the Alliance Central Military Academy.